Welcome to the Future of Tourism podcast. I'm David Peacock. We're talking about conservation.
If you are not credible, you never actually will be influential.
Bring everyone to the table
and imagine their world anew.
Five years ago, Los Cabos demonstrated what was possible when a destination aligns around a common purpose. Faced with COVID, government, tourism, businesses, health authorities, and local stakeholders came together to build trust, protect the visitor experience, and support the community. Today, Los Cabos faces a different challenge. As competition intensifies, particularly in the mid-market segment, the destination is doubling down on experiential development and spreading tourism benefits more broadly across the region. Rodrigo Esponda, Managing Director of Los Cabos Tourism Board, was one of the most thoughtful voices we hosted during the pandemic. 5 years later, I'm interested to see what has endured, what has changed, and how one of the world's most successful destinations is using alignment not just to recover, but to reinvent itself. Good morning, Rodrigo. How are you? Where are you? What's it like?
Very good, David. Very nice to talk to you. I'm based in Los Cabos, and today I'm in Los Cabos.
Very good. It's good to see you. It's been 4 years since we talked, almost 4 years. In the thick of it, we didn't even talk when you were in the middle of it. We talked when you were literally at the beginning of instituting a massive change during the pandemic to see if you could keep the destination open and functioning. It was right at the very beginning. Do you remember that?
Totally, I remember it. And it was one of the first conversations that I had about what we were implementing in Los Cabos at that time.
And the beauty of it is it did work. It worked extremely well. You managed to create a destination that from that point forward, I think your growth rate let me just have a quick look here. You've grown from 40 to 61 international domestic routes. You've gone from visitor arrivals of 2 million in 2016 to 3.8 million in 2024. And a big piece of that growth curve happened even during the pandemic. Okay.
Correct.
All right. So you've established yourself as a premium luxury destination that people love to come to, that they find exciting and safe and accessible. What's going on?
Well, it's been very interesting the last 4 years because we have seen a dramatic change in the tourism industry overall, and from where we were and where we are, it's totally different. We have had to develop authentic experiences in touch with the community and with the nature that really get into the deep connection of the travelers. We believe that that's the future of tourism. There are many people looking to travel to beautiful places in the world. So people would not just travel because the place is beautiful. They would really look to have unique elements. Let's say that this scarcity concept in the economy, it's applied in tourism, where the resources are scarce in terms of authentic experiences that people are looking. And there has been a large commoditization in the tourism industry, where if you see what is the advertising today of the destinations, they some sort of have very similar elements, where you take out the logo of one destination and put another destination, and it really applies to the same place. So we believe that we have to move forward, and we need to push up into the elements that are truly authentic, that would make people to want to come back to those places. And that's what we have been focused. We believe that we've been in touch with the community, with the rural community, in order to develop, to train and develop them to offer a piece of their culture, a piece of their land that they've been taking care in so many cases for 200 or 300 years as a family land. And if they open up these ranches or these places for visitors to come, is because they want to also offer an example of their culture, that they are very proud of. The Sea of Cortez contains 39% of the world marine mammals, and it is very easy to say, but it's difficult to understand that 4 out of every 10 marine mammals are located in our oceans. And when we get into the ocean and we are surrounded by sea lions, we think that this happened all over the world. And it's not that like that, that in the nature that you can really connect in that way with the nature in a unique place. So all those elements, it's what we have been developing as a unique experiences, and we believe that we need to continue evolving and we need to continue elevating the touching points of the destination with the visitor. So we are looking not to bring any type of visitor, we're looking to bring the right type of visitors to the destination.
Okay, so we're talking about a destination that has managed to very well establish itself on its identity as a premium place with beautiful beaches and beautiful vistas. This is actually the story of Los Cabos. You're talking about the authentic Los Cabos. And let me ask you this: when people come, and I've never been, which is shame on me, do they experience now? The beginning of that experience is built in what people are experiencing now, but you're looking to take that and you're looking to push it out further, literally into the geographic region. Is that right?
Correct, correct. That's the first thing that I did when I came to Los Cabos is everything related to Los Cabos was between the area between San Jose and Cabo San Lucas and the highway. And that's not Los Cabos. So that's
Okay.
just the narrow end of Los Cabos. But if we see the territory, the land, let's say that that's 5% of the
Hmm.
geographical area of what is Los Cabos. And it's incredible uh, close to think that that would be the destination when you have all the highlands, the mountains, and all the coastline into both sides, the Pacific and the Sea of Cortez, and you would strict yourself just to a geographic piece because that was conceptually when the Los Cabos as a destination was created 50 years ago, that piece was what was conceived
So,
in the master plan. But
so
the geography, the area, and the
the
desire,
history and the
the
history.
history, and
So
the
let's
history.
let's let's talk about the history for a minute here because you gave me a bit of schooling on this a little while ago. Los Cabos has a really important piece in history that defines not only its own culture but it touches on American culture. And tell me the California story again.
Yeah, Los Cabos, as the name, refers to the capes. So what is behind me is only one cape, but in the region there are many capes. When the Spaniards, the explorers, came to the region, of course they wondered why in the area there were so many capes, and then they thought that this was an island. They couldn't conceive that the peninsula was so long. So then they thought that this was an island, and according to a novel that the Spaniards had at that time, the novel relate that they would come to an island that the name of the island was California. So then they thought that this was an island, and they called it California. And then they divided because the missionaries came and they start establishing the missions all the way up from the south to Loreto, and the Loreto to the north to what it is San Francisco today. And then they divided by Upper California and Lower California. And then the Americans got rid of the Upper California and they stay with California, and we remain with Lower California, Baja California. So the history of the name, precisely as you were saying, it goes to a very rich coastline that we have, including the Pacific and the Sea of Cortez that contains 39% of the world marine mammals. So exactly, if we strict ourselves to the most southern part of the territory, we are denying the history and the richness of what we have in the region, with towns, mountains, the ranch culture, the cowboys, as we know it today, were originated in California because the missions were transformed into ranches, and those ranches were precisely the culture of what the cowboy is, and then they was passed exactly the same to the north. So we need to recover and to tell the story of what it is Los Cabos, that is a piece in the southern part of the Baja California region that is surrounded by two oceans, by the Pacific and the Sea of Cortez, and one piece of mountain, very long stretch of mountain that is called Sierra de la Laguna, because the mountain range that contains towns, mining experiences, and mining areas that in the 1800s were having 100,000 people just exploding the gold in the mountain range. All that goes to our history and our culture.
Okay, so from a geographic perspective, this isn't just expanding, it is really expanding through a big piece of the peninsula.
And it's recovering what it is our heritage. And we need to, and the travelers, when they come to the region, precisely that's what they are coming to discover. They like to stay in a magnificent hotel that we have 19,000 rooms, all beautiful, all in different segments. But they want to stay in a hotel, but they want to go out and discover the gastronomy, the wellness experiences, the nature.
So when you look at a reasonable footprint, and I know you're a student of engaged communities and building tourism networks, and I it's not lost on me, 16 years in the Mexico Tourism Board here in Canada and in the US working. So you know about engaged communities and build them, and you know that what you're biting off here is a massive piece of work that's based in identity, serving the community, and at the same time using that to deliver authentic experiences. As you roll this out, how far out do you go to start with? Do you use drive proximities, or are you going right into the wilderness? You did talk to me before about a rare Mexican bear. I'm assuming that's not in the middle of downtown. What does the footprint of this look like as you envision it over the next 5 years?
Well, we believe I like to get lost myself in the region. I like to scuba and then go and scuba in new places, or go up in the mountain and discover new things up in the mountain. But we believe that the tourism and tourism experiences would need to continue evolving. And in that process of evolution, we have the responsibility to continue offering a quality of life to the local community. So in the region, the only economic activity is tourism. We don't have any other element. So we don't have industrial fishing, even though that in the Sea of Cortez there are huge quantities of fish, but it has to be artisanal fishing to make it sustainable, or farming fish in the ocean, as we are the only region that is exactly doing that, sustainable farming of fish in the region. So we have the responsibility, and we were checking the quality of life in terms of all around Mexico, and the region offers one of the highest standards of living in Mexico thanks to tourism. And it's a big responsibility that we need to continue offering those elements so that the community can have access to education, decent work. Unfortunately, around Mexico, 55% of the economy is on-the-ground economy. That is not on the formal sector. In the case of Los Cabos, the formal economy is the opposite. 78% of the local economy is formal economy, where the workers have access to all the right types of elements in terms of safety nets, social safety nets that we have to provide. So in this element, the region has a huge future to continue evolving.
Okay, so the table's set, and now you are, and I know this, you're not simply approaching destination development and asset development, you've started to work on it. That requires funding, and you have to put some resources on the table with a group of people to develop an idea, to foment that idea. And then usually as a tourism body, we usually have to help them market it, because it's one of the skills we have. Is so you develop an experience, you've got some guidelines. What does the funding piece look like, and what's the role and function of the tourism board? And maybe use a living example. You've got an interesting one. I touched on it earlier around an indigenous bear that lives in Mexico that you were telling me about.
Well, the funding is very interesting, because we have a government grant that is coming from the hotel tax, but that's only a portion. And we have a second trust that is completely private funding. And that second trust gathers 100 companies from all different type of companies, large hotel groups to small DMCs or destination activities or some villa rental companies. We even have two banks that have been providing funding to this second trust, where we do the two trusts have the same mission, that is position Los Cabos as a world-class tourism destination, but one is coming from the private sector and the second one is coming from the private sector. The funding
Public
is
sector.
all one, and it's just strategically applied depending on what are the activities that we are implementing in the medium and long run. And precisely we have a vision. I have been 10 years as the head of this trust of the tourism board, but the vision is to have a medium and long-term vision. And the local investors have been here, are many of them are families or investment groups that have been here for 20 years, 30 years. And when they hire me, what they told me is that they are not going away anytime soon. And their kids live here, and what they are looking to do is to stay in the destination, and that their kids or their grandkids would continue what it is the destination. So we have a long-term vision of what it has to be. And with that in mind is that it doesn't matter the political changes in the municipality or in the state. We need to continue and we need to maintain some core elements in terms of the urban development that we have. We have restrictions in terms of height and density, and they have been trying to implement an urban planning that would cover the whole region, thinking of what it would be this in 20 years. So we are
Mhm.
not looking to just have a big amount of increased tourists
Right.
coming. We
Got
prefer
it.
to have the same number of tourists, but that they would stay longer and that they would come from a much more diversified origin market. If somebody's coming from Brazil, they are not just looking to stay 3 days in the destination. They come and they stay 10, 12 days. And they go around and again goes to the territory. They are looking to go out, to recover, to be in touch with the nature, with the culture, and they can do it and they can find some authentic experiences that would be very different from what they can find in all the continent here.
So let's zero in on those authentic experiences, though. I have a track record in experiential development. What's the model you're using to support and generate those experiences? And give us some examples of what you're looking at, some experiences specifically that you're looking at.
Yeah, for example, the we have a rural guide in terms of what are the experiences that in the rural areas of Los Cabos is we went to the communities to talk to the towns, we did town hall meetings and we spoke with the people who live there and we asked them what are your services that you are looking to offer? So imagine somebody that is has a mango plantation and they have been growing mangoes for generations and generations. So then they came and said, I have 14 different type of mangoes in my ranch, and I would love travelers to come and that I can explain them what we do, how we have been developing the mangoes, and what products we do with the mangoes. And then besides the mango, in my plantation, I have a sinkhole, a waterfall, and some cave paintings and some trails that I have. So then I would like travelers to come learn about the mangoes. I would offer a lunch, meal, and then I would show them the cave paintings, and I would allow them to swim in my waterfalls
Yeah.
here as a full day experience. Okay, so then if you want to do that, then you need to develop your social media. You need to create a website. You need to think of how many travelers, what is the size of the groups that you would feel
Mhm.
comfortable. And then, okay, let me think about it. And then they start thinking about it. Some of them uh, are now not offering just that experiences, but they install some glamping facilities inside the ranches so that people can stay overnight and then enjoy the nature. And then they show them, for example, some authentic bird watching that they can
Mhm.
do in the
Mhm.
region. There is an endemic type of owl, a little owl in the region
Mhm.
that can be seen only at night.
Mm-hmm.
So they say, okay, if they stay at night camping in my ranch, then I can show them this owl that only appears at dusk. And then we started training them, and then we gather in the guides currently in all those rural communities that we have. We have 62 suppliers that they
Wow.
have been trained in the last 4 years, that they have been open to offer some experiences. But those who have been open at the beginning, they were a little bit reluctant because they didn't believe that travelers would really go all the way out and they would just visit them. And they have been amazed with what are the extension of what they can offer and of the appreciation that
Yeah.
travelers have
Yeah.
when they see these authentic experiences.
Well, I will share with you. I went to the Faroe Islands off the coast of Europe, and the highlight of the trip was on the last night. They took us to a sheep farm, marched us up into the hill, showed them where they sheared and sheep, and then they showed us where they cured their whale meat. We sat to dinner in the kitchen, and it was probably the best experience of the entire trip, right? A second example of this. Give me another one other example, the experiential mango thing. Give me another
Yeah.
piece.
Well, we have some other experts, for example, who what they like to do is to develop the trails up in the mountains. And for example, this guy that he has a group of other local villagers that they like to go and mark the trails by
Hmm.
themselves.
Hmm.
And then they do it, they clean it up and they open it and they map it out.
Hmm.
And now we have in this rural experiences guide all the trails marked, where they can go, how long they can take, and this group of local
But not just
experts
not just marked, but marked by the people who live there and love it.
and love it and care about it.
Yeah.
And then they offer, but the best thing is that they themselves like it and they like to take people, go out in the trails. That can be done in 2 hours, 4 hours, or a full day camping on top of the mountain and then
Hmm.
coming down
Hmm. Hmm.
because that's what they love. And but they have always loved the trails, but they have never been able to offer their services to the travelers. They never thought that travelers would be that open to go on a group with somebody that knows exactly what to see, where to see.
So I hear really great developmental work going, and I was trying to get at, and you did give it to me, which is where does this start? And you talked about workshops and going out and meeting these people. 60 odd experiences developed. Is it the Los Cabos board staff who's doing the experiential engagement and training? Is it your people?
We ourselves we do some training and we bring some experts in
Good.
terms of training. For example, we have an alliance with Forbes Travel Guide
Yep.
that is focused on training. We have training as well with the Restaurant Board of Mexico with Canirac, that they come and they train about, for example, the food. Of course, they know the local recipes, but they can get trained in order. One thing is to offer a lunch for your family or for your friends, and another different one is when
Sure.
you
Sure.
offer a lunch to some travelers, especially if they are foreign travelers. And so we have been doing a series of training. We just signed another agreement with a college that is
Hmm. Hmm.
on public image. That is the National College of Public Image, and they've been doing for 30 years training, and they have basic training and advanced training on master's degrees on your public image.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
then we sign an alliance with them so that they can do some training online to the whole supply chain because the every people that touches a tourist in the destination is part of the public image
Hmm.
of
Hmm.
the branding of the destination. And so then they realize that everybody can get trained and everybody can get a better way of dealing with tourists because it's part of the public image of the destination. So, and we are also, as you know, we do a survey on the community about how they satisfied they are on tourism.
Hmm.
And as the destination has been evolving and growing, the needs of the community has been changing in terms of education, housing, water, and other resources. And now in this survey, we are also including the rural communities because their needs are different and their level of satisfaction in terms of tourism would also is different from what the urban community.
What are you seeing there? What are you seeing that interests you there?
Well, interestingly, they are very happy because they had been left out for many years of the tourism activity. So,
Hmm.
as we go back 10 years, when travelers would just stay in what it is between Cabo San Lucas and San Jose del Cabo, and they, for no reason, would go out to the mountain
Hmm.
or would go out to some of these towns, such as Santiago, Miraflores, and they start getting in touch with tourists, and tourists start appreciating their culture. So then they are much better satisfied and their level of income starts improving because they are getting some revenue from
Hmm.
these
Hmm.
experiential things that they are offering. However, they are very concerned about the sustainability and the environment. So
Hmm.
then we need to consider elements for education to the tourists in terms of their footprint when they go out and when they start interacting with the rural communities. And it's part of the training process. We need to make sure, for example, of the plastic bottles that
Hmm.
instead of just going with plastic bottles, they need to be aware
Sure,
that if
sure.
take a plastic bottle into the mountain, then how they would be getting that plastic bottle back. So we've been doing. They are happy, but of course they are concerned in terms of the sustainability, and we need to think of the longer term of what is going to be the impact in these rural areas.
You've got you've got the inbound, you've got the growth and lift, you've got plenty of inbound air, you've got awareness. Um, you're working hard on identity and experience. What's the next 5 years about?
Well, the next 5 years is thinking that the growth of the destination is expanding towards the coastline on both sides, on the Pacific and on the Sea of Cortez, and which is good. It's getting to much more diversified set of things that we can offer. However,
Okay.
we need to think of the infrastructure that is
Hmm.
needed
Hmm.
in the next 5 years in terms of housing, water, energy, roads, the airport, and we need to level out. We need to consider that growth, what is going to mean for the region in
Hmm.
all
Hmm.
regards.
Okay, and to do that, how does the alignment with all the civic entities work? How do you work with your municipalities, with the state government, with the country government in that model?
There is a plan of what is needed in the destination in 10 years in terms of urban planning and in terms of infrastructure.
Mhm.
And we have it. And then we also have the amount of investment that is needed in order to build and to have that infrastructure in place. So part of the hotel tax that is collected is used for that.
Mhm.
There is a cost precisely to develop all that infrastructure that is managed by the private sector
So
and with the private sector mind.
you do co-invest in that development plans, propositions, white papers and things that help move this along. That is one of your purviews then.
Exactly, exactly. Let's say that it's not officially in the paper of
Sure.
what we do, but we participate actively in all these working groups.
Mhm.
Just in a matter of an hour, I'm going to have a presentation with one of those groups that is a society group that they are worried about what is happening in terms of the number of travelers and some social elements. And then we're going to be having a meeting to review, and my participation is going to be what are the travel trends, what are the numbers in terms of inbound tourism, how the season, the summer season and the winter season looks like, so that everybody can plan and can understand what is going on. So we have that type of governance in the destination in place that is really making a difference. And I am convinced that Los Cabos is today what it is, thanks to that collective effort and collective vision.
Okay. I'm going to go back to end this. We're going to go back to the beginning. Rolling into the pandemic, you had a good place doing good work. But again, I really can't underline enough how much you just turbocharged it. That the way that you were able to respond to the crisis as the board really cemented the idea that you had good work to do. And I'm assuming it created the level of trust that you're applying here, because this is a big, big step and it requires lots of people to engage and align, but your reputation is high. Did COVID really have that big an effect on this? Did it accelerate it for you?
Totally, totally. I remember some of the discussions that we had with some of these local groups in terms of how we were implementing the protocols and how we would be opening back the destination. There was some pushback from some groups or some people that they thought that we should not be doing that. For example, I remember somebody mentioning when we were implementing some protocols for New Year's Eve in 2020 to 2021, and they were saying, do you think that I would be offering a celebration that would be a partial celebration for New Year's Eve and that people would be willing to pay, because this was a high-end hotel, willing to pay this amount of money with these restrictions? And I answered, yes, exactly. People would be willing to pay that amount because they want to be protected.
Yes.
Uh, so those type of interactions help us to set the base of what we have been discussing today. Because now everybody is much more aligned, and when we mention that we need to focus on quality, not quantity, they understand, and there is a base where they have an idea of why we are doing, and they understand our vision.
It's always great to talk to you. I'm looking forward to seeing you in Portland, I hope, in a month.
Yes,
Excellent.
see you there.
Thanks for spending the time. Just anything you want to share with everybody just before you go, and we will see you in Portland. But last thoughts?
Well, a last thought is that tourism, I believe, that has a huge potential to change the lives of the local communities. And even though that we have been discussing that for years and years, there is very little to be done in terms of a long-term vision. Everybody is much more focused just on the short term, and everybody wants to have tourists coming this year and having a big change this year. And we need to understand that the footprint of tourists it's set, and it needs to be planned with a medium and long-term vision. And I think the more that we collectively understand that, the more it's going to be achieved.